Hi, everybody. I'm Alice K. Ruckelhaus, and I want to share with you something just a little bit unusual today. But when I shared our coloring pages, I mentioned about it helping with anxiety, and that seemed to find a common ground with some people. So I wanted to share something else that I used to do for anxiety. I haven't been able to do it where I live now, but this was when I lived up in Minnesota, and I was taking a class from Dr. Andrew Weil about anxiety and depression. And one of the things that he suggested was using labyrinths. And this particular one was at a Lutheran church. I wasn't Catholic at the time, and I don't think that it really matters for this. I mean, as long as you're not finding it at some satanic place or something. I found a directory of labyrinths all over the world. And there were like 80 in the Minneapolis area, which is where I lived. And that this is so effective is that it can help you to focus. And these used to be for prayer. They were mainly in Catholic churches, I think since like the Middle Ages or something. And it's not like a maze because a maze is kind of a game, and you can't find your way out and all that kind of stuff. This is obviously you can see where you're going. It's flat. Most of them are flat. Some of them have rocks to show you where the paths are and stuff. But otherwise, they're usually flat like this. Sometimes they're inside of Catholic churches. This one happened to have been built by the Boy Scout troop that met there at that church. And what you do is you just start at the entrance and you walk slowly through it, really focusing on your steps as you're praying. And it helps not just with anxiety, but also if you have a hard time focusing on your prayers. And you can see how small this is, but because it's a labyrinth and you're walking back and forth and you are trying to walk slowly and focus, it takes about an hour to get through something like this. I like the way that they have it here. It has flowers all around it, little gardens and stuff. And there were little things like this along the way, praying for a world of peace. And so here's the whole thing. So you can see this. You can see it's just flat. I've always wanted to do one, like in my yard or something, because I did find this super, super helpful. When I lived there in Minnesota, I tried shoveling out a labyrinth in the snow, which would have been more like a maze because it would have had raised walls. There's usually a cross in the center because when you're walking in, you're turning your problems over to Christ. You're saying, Lord, I'm really struggling with this. This is a problem that I'm having. I don't know how I'm going to feed my kids, or whatever. And so you're talking about that on the way in, and then you give those all to Christ when you get to the middle, and then you start heading out. Sometimes you head out the same way, sometimes there's a different exit, but you head out and you receive from God. You're leaving your burdens behind, and you're just walking the path and receiving. And at this one, the Boy Scouts had planted plants all along the way. This was in the spring, so they were just starting to come up, which the spring there is like basically summer here. But and then they had this statue of Saint Francis, who I didn't really know much about now. He's one of my very, very favorite saints. I have a real devotion to him and to Saint Clare. And here he's feeding some animals, but there's little benches that you can sit on because the whole idea is to take your time and to relax, to really almost literally to unwind and to just give all your burdens over to God and really leave with a sense of peace. And I did. And I visited a number of labyrinths. This actually was my favorite. There were some that were really fancy and some that were very old. But this one was my favorite. And I think partly because it was done by the Boy Scouts, I just thought that was really neat that they had done this and that they had thought that it was important enough for a project for them to make something that people could enjoy for prayer and stuff. And it was the Boy Scouts. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. If you are interested in looking for labyrinths, it's a directory of all the labyrinths that are registered with this directory in the world, and it will tell you the addresses and how you can find them. All right, I love you all. I hope this was enjoyable too. It was kind of a weird departure from what we've been doing, but this came up on my Facebook memories and I thought it would be neat to share it with you because so many are really having problems with anxiety right now. All right, I love you all and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.